In today's show, we're talking of Kane Pitman of Locked On Bucks about the Milwaukee Bucks. Why they can repeat as NBA champions. It's coming up. Stay tuned.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi guys, and welcome to another show of Locked On NBA. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I am the host of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball channel, so you can find me over there if you're into fantasy basketball. We're looking at some of the best teams in the NBA today. We've talked about the Brooklyn Nets, and now we're going to talk about the reigning NBA champions, the Milwaukee Bucks. Before I do that, though, this might be a familiar problem. Maybe you are watching the Milwaukee Bucks on live TV. You got another login to watch on-demand shows. You got your highlights that you might watch on your phone. Then you got someone else's login to log into another service to watch something else. It's all over the place. There's just so much clutter and so much confusion. I want to tell you about a simple way to get all of the entertainment you love without the hassle, and a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called Direct TV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your shows, movies, and sport all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes and no need to buy another device ever again. The best part, there is no annual contract, so get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with Direct TV Stream. Find out more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required, and content varies by package. And now you've heard me also tell you about Built Bar, the best tasting protein bar ever. Whatever your flavor, whether it is cookies and cream, whether it's orange, double chocolate, raspberry, cherry barcia, maybe that's your bag, I guess. Is that the one you want? Maybe. I don't know. Go and find out what your favorite flavor is. And if you don't know, if you're confused, get a mixed box. You get all those delicious flavors chucked into one box. But not only are they delicious, the Built Bars, they're also good for you. 17 to 18 grams of protein, 130 to 180 calories, 4 to 5 grams of sugar, and 4 to 5 grams of net carbs per bar. So these are protein bars, but with great taste and not killing your calorie budget or your diet plan. So head to built.com, use the promo code LOCKED15 and save 15% on Built Bars. One box, two box, a mixed box, a raspberry box, whatever it is. Get your ones that you want at Built.com by using the promo code LOCKED15. Built Bar are the best tasting protein bars ever. All right, so let's bring him in now. The host of the Locked On Bucks podcast, the host of the NBA champion Locked On Bucks podcast, Giannis's best mate, Immigration Minister Giannis Antetokounmpo, asking for this man to be back in the United States covering the Bucks. It is, of course, Kane Pitman. Kane, welcome to Locked On NBA.
Yeah, well, there was some jokes that a couple of days later, there was some changes to the international travel rules in Australia. So there are some people that are crediting Giannis for that, but we'll see. I don't know when I'll get back or if it's going to happen this season, but for now, fortunately, we can still cover him from a distance.
So what we are doing today is looking at good teams, and the Bucks are obviously a good team. They won the NBA championship last season. So Kane, you are here to tell me in the most basic of terms, I guess, why are Bucks fans expecting a second championship? Why are you going to win again, back to back?
I think the two easiest reasons to say why you should feel confident the Bucks are going to have success this year is continuity with your superstars, no changeover at the top of the roster, and then secondly, no drama. I think we look around at some of these other teams around the league, and there's always the threat of some potential drama, particularly when you look at the teams at the top of the East. And it's just not something, even in previous years, that you've associated with the Bucks, with their star players. Pretty low key. They go about their business. They are fine with deferring to each other, and just no drama, I think, is one of the top characteristics of this team.
Yeah, exactly. You've got the situation, obviously, in Philadelphia with Ben Simmons, and who knows when and how that's going to get resolved. You've got Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn, and we have no idea what's happening there, whether he's going to be able to play half the games or not. Whereas the Bucks come in as defending champions, basically as the same squad. Like, there's not a huge amount that's changed. A few things on the periphery. They won't have Dante DiVincenzo to begin the season, but they didn't have him to end the season. So you could argue they've made upgrades to their bench with George Hill and Grayson Allen in there. PJ Tucker's going to be a little bit of a loss for them, but he wasn't really a regular season contributor anyway. So it is going to be interesting to see the difference between having that team, you're going at it again, and coming back. Now, some people, and we had this discussion earlier when I talked with Locked On Nets about the Nets, and if they weren't injured, it could be assumed that they probably would have knocked off the Bucks in round 2, and then we wouldn't necessarily be having this conversation here, Kane, saying, oh, the Bucks are champions, how are they going to repeat? So it's not an absolute lock that they are the best team, or they were. Well, they obviously won the championship, but were they the best team? So what can they do to get better, to, I guess, not eliminate that doubt? That's the wrong thing, because I'm not discrediting their championship, because it's obviously fully deserved and they were awesome. But do they have to take it a little bit further this season?
Well, it'll be interesting. I think one of the main storylines that follow almost every champion. I'm not saying every champion, but you do have to have some luck at the right end of the season. So I don't think that it was too abnormal that was the case. And certainly in the Brooklyn series, there was some luck there. I think it's interesting going back to last season, because the Bucks really schematically on both ends of the floor changed things up big time, because they realized that the way that they were playing the same way every single night, very good during the regular season. You can beat a team one-off, but they were falling short in the postseason. So probably the area where I think they can improve even more is defensively during the regular season, tighten things up. They were trying different schemes last year. They were switching more than they ever had before. They went to small ball lineups. So I think that this year you could probably expect them to be a little bit more consistent, and perhaps they'll enter the playoffs more obviously assured of the way that they play can hold up in the postseason. But I just think that they'll be better prepared. So I actually thought last year was a little bit experimental with some of the things that they were trying. It didn't necessarily always work, and they kind of had to get to the playoffs and then find out on the run whether it was actually going to work. This year, they'll go in there knowing that what they've done worked on the biggest stage, even when they had their backs up against the wall.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask you. Having that confidence after the end of the 1920 season, losing to Miami in the bubble and being like, oh man, we're the best team in the NBA, like why did this happen? And then coming out and then now having that confidence to go, well, you know, we can beat whoever, like we'll go out there and we'll win, and we've got that experience now. And having that confidence, do you think that is a big factor for them, knowing that whatever the situation, whether you're down in a series against the all-powerful Brooklyn Nets, that you can come back and beat them, whether you can win when your star goes down with a knee injury, like Giannis did in the playoffs, that having that confidence is something that they're going to hold in good stead?
Well, it really felt like they conquered all the demons, because even the first round, I know they swept Miami, and that series was a bit of a nothing series in the end. But coming in, everyone thought, well, this is the Bucks facing their demons right away. They took care of business there. And then after that, not only 2-0 down against Brooklyn, 2-0 down against Phoenix in the NBA Finals as well. So, and a Game 7 on the road in that second round against Brooklyn. So they really ticked all the boxes. And I think perhaps one of the underrated confidence boost that they'll get is the wins that they had on the road. They actually never had home court advantage after the first round against Miami. So, look, I that's one of the unrecordables. I don't know how you really, project what that's going to mean for this team moving forward, but there's no doubt they have to feel good about the fact that they were basically 1 foot out of the postseason on multiple occasions and found a way back.
I asked this to the Nets earlier on, so I asked this to you now. So, what's the thing that, injury aside, what's the thing that can go wrong? Like if Giannis goes down and touch wood, goes down in week 1 and doesn't play for the rest of the season, look, that's obviously not going to be easy. But assuming a regular level of health for the star players, what's something that goes wrong that doesn't allow them to get back to, say, bare minimum Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah, I think the one thing that stands out to me, and I don't necessarily expect that this is going to be the case, but I do think we have to keep an eye on the age of a couple of the players. So Brook Lopez being one, and George Hill, as you mentioned, because I think as you currently look at the rotation, they still figure to be really, really important to everything the Bucks are doing. George Hill can unlock different defensive lineups, massive upgrade from what they had at backup point guard last year. And then at the center position, if Brook Lopez has lost a little bit, I don't think so. I mean, we saw him in the postseason. He looked great. I think he's a guy you can manage through the regular season. But if he loses a step or isn't as agile defensively or isn't a top-level rim protector as he's been the last few seasons, then you're falling back on either Giannis playing at the 5 or Bobby Portis. And so I think the big man stocks is where you look at it and say, well, hopefully Brook Lopez is still the same guy. Hopefully Giannis stays healthy because the depth isn't quite there, even though they do have a roster spot. And I expect they'll try and make an addition at some point.
Maybe Bucks legend Johnny O'Bryant will take that take that spot. He's back in camp. Kane, maybe he can fill in that backup center role with that last roster spot. You never know. After the old Bucks fans probably just getting some PTSD from the old Jason Kidd starting Johnny O'Bryant moments back whenever it was, 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, whenever it was, but that's still burned into my head, remembering those lineups that he was trotting out there. Okay, is there any, last question, any concern about the long playoff run / Olympics for Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton?
Maybe, but I think that if you're the Bucks, and this is all the messaging we got out of them through media days, that they're very aware of it. So I think coming into the season, they probably expect that they're going to try and keep these guys' minutes down. They might have a couple of nights off. They've already indicated with Giannis carrying a little bit of knee soreness that they're not going to mess around with that. They're saying that he's not going to miss the start of the season, but if he misses the start of the season, I don't think they'll be losing any sleep over it. I think they still believe that even with one guy missing or a couple of guys missing on any given night, they'll be able to beat the majority of the teams in the Eastern Conference. So I think they feel pretty confident that they'll be able to manage this. I think if they came in, and this is why I've had people ask me, do you think the Bucks will be going to 60 wins, 65 wins? And I say no, because it doesn't make sense for them to do that. I think they'll play it smart and play it careful and try and build towards the postseason.
Well, Kane, Mike Budenholzer doesn't need any encouragement to limit his players' minutes and play a large rotation, so that should be fine throughout the regular season. Yeah. All Bucks stuff you're going to have covered for us. Mamu watch, Johnny O'Bryant watch, whatever we need to cover, Kane, over on Locked On Bucks. You'll have it for us 5 days a week. Thank you for coming on Locked On NBA with me and chatting about the defending NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks.
Love it, mate. Anytime. Thank you.